Hello, I'm Linda McDaniel, principal of Eugene Field A+ Elementary. We are both a neighborhood and specialty school serving approximately 430 students in the Sioux Falls School District. A+ stands for Arts Plus Academics. As an A+ school, we embed the arts into our academic programming. We started as an A+ school in 2001 and have grown our A+ programming significantly, structurally and number of students since that time. We belong to an A+ network out of North Carolina and are the only A+ school in South Dakota. Students at Eugene Field A+ have many opportunities and experiences unique to the A+ program. Our students receive instruction in all academic areas using the district-approved curriculum. In addition, our teachers carefully align arts-based standards and instructional practices to enhance the lessons taught via the district curriculum. Our Eugene Field A+ mission recognizes that students are smart in many ways. Our mission is to provide a strong academic program using visual arts, music, dance, and drama to meet the needs of each and every student. Therefore, our students receive instruction in dance, drama, and art on a weekly basis. They also participate in multiple intelligence events such as MI Day and MI Exchange. Integrating the arts into core content and core content into the arts requires a team approach. Our specialists and classroom teachers have a collaboration model built into our weekly schedule. This provides sacred time for our staff members to gather in our collaboration center to discuss students' academic successes and challenges through the lens of our students' creative gifts. We believe all kids are smart, just in different ways. Because of this, we teach Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences. This encourages and supports our students to think critically and tap into the many different learning styles or smarts they possess when tackling a challenging task.
At its heart, Eugene Field A+ Elementary uses the same curriculum as every other elementary school in Sioux Falls. Meaning, for example, that if a third grader at another school transferred here, or vice versa, they would be learning the same standards. The key difference is that the arts are integrated into the school day here, a kind of immersion into art.
I like PE, going to drama, and being the main character of plays. I'm working on hip-hop dancing right now, and it's pretty fun, and we do some games.
At Eugene Field A+ Elementary, we do have a strong focus on the arts, and that doesn't mean that we do other things less. What it does mean is that while we are studying our social studies or science standards, we are incorporating arts-based activities to integrate and to increase the focus and the understanding for students on those standards. They do find a connection and have the ability to remember more, I believe. I've talked in the past about, as a 5th grade teacher, when we did our art integration time with our arts teacher, our focus was mainly on science and social studies, and so we did projects then that accentuated those standards. But yes, things like tableaus that we would do and create based on not only the standard but then on an event in our history or a science topic. And then in addition to doing that, then they could look back and look at their friends' work and critique, ask questions, and kind of reinforce their understanding. Now this year, as a 4th grade teacher, we have more of a math focus in our art integration time, and that has been really eye-opening, knowing that there are students that are struggling with a math concept in math class, but then when we put art with it, they're able to just somehow see it a bit differently, and it clicks and makes a little more sense for them.
At every school in Sioux Falls, students have an art class, but at Eugene Field, they also have art integration. So I go into their classroom and co-teach a lesson with their classroom teacher, where we take a standard from visual art and then a standard from whatever they're working on in any of the core subjects. And I often encourage teachers to choose a standard that is maybe a struggle for some students or something that they feel they need another review of or another approach to it. And then we teach a lesson with both of those standards to create an art project. For example, in 3rd grade, recently the 3rd graders were starting to study fractions. And I think if you talked about fractions to most adults, they would say that was tough to learn just on paper and pencil. So we did a project where we reviewed watercolor techniques, different ways to use watercolors. They created different pizza toppings and then created a pizza and then a menu where they talked about all their different toppings and wrote a fraction for each piece of their pizza. And it was really amazing to see how when you just connect it to something like cooking and they're making a cool art project and they get to name their pizza place, and just how the motivation increases, and then how the light bulb just goes on for some of those kids that paper and pencil math lesson maybe wouldn't have achieved for them.
We have an art class where we work on one project, then art integration to work on another. I like doing more than just one art piece that we get to do, because we have art, my class has art on Tuesdays, but then we also have it on Thursday, so we get to just work on more than one art project in school.
The reason that I love our school and teaching in an A+ school, and the reason that I love the program, is because it just makes sense. When we think about the arts that we integrate on a daily basis, whether that's dance or drama or music or visual arts, most of the time those are just by nature fun activities. And so while they have a lot of content in their respective areas, when we can use the arts as a vehicle and a tool to teach our content area, it just makes it more impactful and more meaningful and more engaging, more fun for students. It's really nice because we get the opportunity to collaborate with our specialists on a daily, weekly basis. And so we get to talk to them about what they're teaching in their classroom, and we get to reinforce that in our classroom, and vice versa. They are constantly asking us, hey, what can we do to reinforce and to strengthen the instruction and the learning that's happening in your classroom? And so that's a really powerful part of integrating the arts. On top of that, I mean, at every grade level, art integration is very powerful. I teach kindergarten, so at the kindergarten level, there's so many ways to use art integration. For one, we learn a lot of just basic facts and simple concepts that we just need kindergartners to know. And so when we can use song and music to learn the days of the week, or the alphabet, or the spelling of our basic colors, they're having fun doing it. They're getting to sing, they're getting to move, but they're also learning those concepts and remembering them long term, and that's so beneficial and so important and powerful for them.
Incorporation of the arts and the multiple intelligences concept, or the different smarts, into the classroom doesn't only make learning fun and engaging. It involves rigor, empathy, and grit.
MI stands for multiple intelligence, and it's based on Howard Gardner's theory that people have more than just one intelligence. So they have, right now, is 8 different intelligences, which could be body smart, word smart, nature smart. So for teaching, we understand that we all have these intelligences. Each student has them, and they have various different learning styles that they like to use. So it's important that we might teach one subject, but we teach it in multiple ways. So we might do a body smart activity to learn a math fact. We might do a word activity, something outside looking for math in nature, so that students really become a master of the subject, and they have multiple ways to show what they know rather than the traditional paper, pencil, assessment type activity. One thing I do in my classroom all the time is with math facts, we teach it with songs. And so double facts is a big one that we use. And to this day, I taught it first quarter, and I still have students singing the same song when they're working on their math paper. So something that might originally be a struggle to do with a flashcard, we teach it in a song, and then they learn it that much more, and it sticks with them.
I think it's even maybe a little bit more rigorous, because not only will we teach it one way, but then we'll try to find multiple ways to teach it so that we reach more than just that group of students. You know, having the multiple intelligences focus at the forefront really just kind of brings that out. And so, for example, watching an informants of a drama production from drama class and talking about it at the end and going through all 8 multiple intelligences and just reminding the kids that all of those things were present when you were performing, or doing that with a poem, with poetry, and how you can bring out the illustrations and use different art techniques to illustrate your ideas, and just kind of showing the kids that we all learn in different ways, and So I think the rigor is even more rigorous because they're being exposed to it in a variety of fashions instead of just one way and done.
With multiple intelligences, I think we just have a different view of what the brain is doing. I think sometimes we think of intelligence as just one thing that shows up on the SAT or the ACT or whatever standardized test is being given, but there's so much more to intelligence than that, and the multiple intelligences is just more expansive, and it looks at the other parts of our intelligence and other ways that we can demonstrate our intelligence and demonstrate knowledge.
As a teacher, I think the arts are powerful for me because when I create lesson plans, I can be a little bit more creative. Of course, we follow district curriculum. We have the standards that we need to reach and meet, but when we're teaching through the arts, we can pull in, hey, where are the natural connections with visual arts, or where's the connection with dance here, or could we make a connection, and how can we both reinforce what they're doing outside the classroom in their special areas and find a content area skill that we can strengthen or enhance and make stronger and make it a memorable experience for kids. The more connections we can make between the areas, the stronger their learning is going to be, the deeper the learning is going to be. And so it's really fun to get to learn from the specialists too, because I've learned so much from Miss Meg in the art room, Miss Laura in the music room, Miss Beck in the dance room. They just have such a wealth of knowledge in their respective areas, and so when they can help give me ideas of, hey, you know what, we're really struggling with a specific skill or standard, I can go to them and they can make a suggestion, or vice versa. I can say, you know what, how can I help out what you're doing there? And so I think as a teacher, if I can make a creative lesson fun for the kids, engaging, and then they'll remember it, I think that's one of the ways that the arts integration piece just really helps student learning more than anything. When kids are engaged in lessons, they're having fun, there's buy-in there too, and so when they're acting out a story and learning the different parts, or when they're painting something that helps them understand a math concept, they're engaged, they're buying in, they're taking ownership over that, and that just is such a testament to the program.
Well, I think that everyone has smarts in the school, we just have it differently. And Eugene Field kind of helps to express our inner selves and make us better at that. I am a fast learner, but I would say I'm a little too fast that I will rush into things sometimes. And then in math, I'll get like one problem wrong because I rushed into it too quickly. So that's what I'm trying to work on.
And it's working, not just for the neighborhood students who attend Eugene Field, but for all the families that choose to open enroll to the school for this incredible program.
When we were looking at where to send the boys to school, there's so many good public schools in Sioux Falls. I mean, pretty much all of them are. But we heard so many good things about the teachers at Eugene Field and the opportunities they have here. I mean, I didn't even know what A+ meant. I just thought it was kind of a slogan, this is an A+ school, like grading scale. It's a nice little slogan, but I didn't realize it meant arts, and I thought, we always have music playing in the house, singing, and not so much dancing. You don't want to see me dance, but so music is a big part of our house, of our home. And so to be able to have so much of that, I mean, all schools I think have music, but I think it's, music on steroids here, and there's so many more opportunities, plays, things like that really, I think, help to expand their horizons.
Growing up, my daughter we're a family that sang in choirs at church and things like that. And it's just, as long as she was little, she was joining with me up in the choir area. And come to find out, there hasn't been a microphone that she hasn't liked yet. Just giving her the opportunity to come here and to see what she could do just blossomed. Her confidence blossomed, her fortitude to stick to things that she truly desires and enjoys has just, in my opinion, has just launched her. And now in middle school as a 6th grader, she had no problems auditioning for the talent show and singing solo and being part of a mixed choir group there. And so this just really, in my opinion, it launched her from her just confidence in herself to go do what she loves to do and enjoy it. That's what I see the most, the impact that it's had on her.
I first learned about Eugene Field through Zachary's preschool teacher, and another friend of mine who I grew up with in the northeastern part of South Dakota, who was one of Zacharys' preschool classmates. And so I contacted a few folks that I knew as leaders in the school district to ask questions about a few of the options we were evaluating, and I was encouraged to come for a tour. I remember that tour like it was yesterday. Not only did I love the fact that it was academics and the arts and that wonderful model of education, but when we learned there was a multiple intelligence approach to learning and to teaching, that really sealed the deal for us. We loved the smaller neighborhood feel of the school. We loved the fact that the diversity of the student body reflects the city of Sioux Falls, and we really appreciated the opportunity to take that tour. We felt very welcome. We could sense the care of the teachers and of the whole community here of Eugene Field, and Zachary again has just thrived every year that he's been here.
Teachers and parents are always great advocates for their schools, but perhaps there's no greater testament to a school's programming than when teachers themselves open and enroll their own children to the school.
It was an easy decision to have my kids come here. I mean, obviously for scheduling, but more importantly, because of the benefits that I saw years before they were even alive. And so for them, knowing that they have an arts flair, they enjoy music so much. They enjoy being creative visually. They are very dramatic. It was a very good fit for them. Not that they wouldn't have been successful at other schools, but it has just opened a lot more doors, I think, and increased their love for the arts.
As a parent, the arts was always something that we were very passionate about in our house outside of just the school day. So we did a lot of things around the community with like the performing arts at the pavilion and different art camps and classes and things like that, taking dance as an extracurricular activity, those kind of things. So having a school that focused on those same things just seemed like a perfect fit for our family. When our oldest daughter was ready to start kindergarten, we came to an open house at Eugene Field where parents were invited to come see how the arts were integrated into instruction, and it just felt like a perfect fit for us. And so we open enrolled our oldest daughter at the time, and then that was the year that I started teaching elementary school. My background was I taught middle school for 9 years first. And so when my daughter started kindergarten, I started teaching kindergarten. So we both made that kind of transition at the same time. And once she was at Eugene Field for a couple of years, and I knew elementary was the right fit for me, I just kind of knew that I wanted to share that, my passion for arts as a parent, and not just share it with my own 3 kids, but be able to share it with the students that I work with now. So now all 3 of our children go here, and now I get to share my passion and love for the arts with not just them, but with all the students that I serve here at school.
It's easy to think that because of the addition of the expanded arts instruction and multiple intelligence focus, that there must be a subtraction somewhere, or something that's missing. But that's not the case at all.
I have come across it a couple of times, and it tends to be from some of my friends who are engineers that I've worked with in the past at Raven Industries, and I smile because some of those same engineers are among the biggest supporters of the arts here in Sioux Falls. And so when we talk about the academic rigor in the classroom and the traditional courses and subjects that they're learning in math and reading and writing and social science, but then when you integrate the multiple intelligence approach, when you integrate the arts and their specials, but in other ways that enhance their educational experience, I think you readily clarify any misconceptions about the educational programming and curriculum here at Eugene Field. And again, that's the beauty of this model. The only school in the state of South Dakota and in the city, in the school district, that has this wonderful model that focuses on high quality academics, but knowing you can enhance that educational experience with the arts in the city of Sioux Falls, whether it's Sculpture Walk, whether it's the Washington Pavilion programming, whether it's the new Levitt Pavilion of celebrating diversity through music. Again, it's a reflection of the city itself.
As if all of that weren't enough, the arts focus and multiple intelligence integration mean tons of experiences that students at other schools don't necessarily get. multiple intelligence or MI days, MI exchange, a school dance, a SMART day, formal performances, more informal demonstrations of learning called informances, an art show and monologue museum, and an annual musical that has no rival.
So that the art show we have tied with our spring musical, which was Mary Poppins, and so it's a spoonful of sugar. And so Megan's work all throughout the building shows them with their art standards, but also tying in with the theme of a spoonful of sugar. And in addition, then the 5th grade students are doing a monologue museum. They are basically acting as museum docents, and they have studied a person of history that they learned about either this year or throughout their time at Eugene Field, and then studied what their impact was on us as a society or the United States, and they get to share their artwork through this person's life story.
Multiple Intelligences Days is where we invite people from the community into our school. So our next one is all about careers in the arts. And so we have presenters coming in, and we have 3 rotations for about 40 minutes where our students are learning about what that career is, they're participating in an activity, and they're learning about how the multiple intelligences and the arts are out in the community. We had a science and STEAM day where we had a scientist from Sanford Labs come in, and I saw for a lot of my students, it clicked, oh, there's a real life scientist? This is something I can actually aspire to be and do. This sounds super fun. MI Exchange is where it's a lesson planned by the committee, and I have one student from every single classroom in Eugene Field. And we keep those kids every single year as our MI family. So we look at different artists, we do activities together, but really it promotes such a sense of community because I have these students from kindergarten, and then I see them when they're done in 5th grade, and I'm just a little part of their time at Eugene Field, but it also provides more safe student relationships, and they just have another safe adult in the building that they can trust and form a little family with.
We get to go into a different classroom and make we're gonna make our own version of like a sport card sort of, but with an artist.
Eugene Field, I think most people, at least for us, it's about the play. The play that they put on rivals any high school play, hands down. What's the beauty of it, they have about 160, 170 kids that are involved in the program, and every single one of them has a part, a critical part, to be involved in something that's bigger than maybe they never would have been able to be involved in before. Whether you're a child who wants to be up front, or whether you're a child that wants to be involved, but leave me in the back. You're gonna have an awesome costume, you're gonna have an awesome role, and you will get your time up on stage. You won't always just be in the back. You'll have an opportunity to be involved in, like I said, something that's greater than maybe they'll ever have an opportunity to be in the future.
Unique, unforgettable experiences, meaningful relationships, and a lifelong understanding of oneself as a learner are priceless. So is the confidence gained from performing in front of audiences at a young age. It's a formula for success that's hard to duplicate.
We were working on a class dance, and we were dancing to Hall of Fame, and it's really like an encouraging song, and it's just really fun to do dance class, and it's just like it's fun working together, doing a dance, and like we talked about like how we like did this and like how we choreographed it.
I like to do a lot of stuff. I'm a football player, so I've done football since freshman year. So I did that, but then I've also done musicals. I've done both Pippin and most recently Beauty and the Beast. But then I also, freshman year, I started oral interpretation. Other than that, I've been involved with student council. I'm actually our student council president. I'm in National Honor Society. I'm in Latin Honor Society and Latin Club. And I've also done things like the Young Progressives Club. I've participated in, I'm going to be joining the Statesman next year, so I've done a little bit of freelance writing for them. And then class-wise, I've done, this year I took 3 AP classes. I've done a lot of accelerated classes, a lot of accelerated math, math and English and history kind of classes. I'm also in our choir. Going into Eugene Field, we open enrolled because we knew, or at least we thought we knew, that it was a good school. I was the first one in my family to go there. And what I learned from Eugene Field, especially with their emphasis on arts education, is something that I don't think I would have gotten anywhere else. Being involved in musicals and watching musicals since I was a kid, just going and sitting down when you were a kindergartner and going and watching whatever show was on that year, it got me interested in that kind of stuff. And I don't know if I would have been interested in that kind of stuff to begin with. But then also with the different smarts that Eugene Field focuses on, that's something that I think is really unique to Eugene Field, because anywhere else you can talk about how kids are smart anywhere else. You can look at their grades, you can look at whatever you want, just holistically, but you can't really see the whole picture unless you talk to a kid and figure out what they like and what they're good at. Because if a kid likes something and they want to pursue it, a lot of the time, if it's not strictly academic, they're discouraged from really focusing on that, when in reality it's what they could be doing for the rest of their lives. And I think that Eugene Field, by showing me that there's a wide range of things that I can be good at and can be smart in, I think that really set me up to be the person that I am, who is okay with doing a bunch of different things and trying new things and not being afraid, because I know that there's things I can, one, if I need to, I can fall back on, but two, that I can use to get where I want to go. Once you can start doing the musicals 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, the opportunity to perform in front of such a large crowd is something that I don't think is really anywhere else, because I know a lot of kids even now that are afraid to get up on stage. But I can say that I've been getting up on stage in front of crowds bigger than that since I was, 9, 10. So I think that, Eugene Field really set me up to be, especially on stage or just in front of an audience, and be comfortable and know that I know what I'm doing. You can go out and play, football with your friends during recess, but then you can also come in and go to a dance class. And I think that, especially going into middle school or going into high school, one thing that we talk about is school dances. A lot of people go to them, a lot of people are uncomfortable because it's hard to dance in front of everybody. Well, one thing that I can do is I can bust out some moves that I learned in 4th grade when I was waltzing in the gym. That kind of set me up well, but I mean, even farther than that, with all the activities that I've done, chorus or any choral program is a great place to meet a lot of people with similar interests. And then theater is such an inclusive group. It doesn't matter who you are. You can go in and you can shine, and you can be a part of something. And I think that it's really important for a lot of kids, because they can kind of get lost when they get to middle school or they get to high school. They can get lost in the crowd and they don't really have a direction. But being involved in those sorts of activities gives you an immediate friend group, and it gives you people that are going to support you. I mean, no matter what kind of decisions you make going forward, at least you have that support base that you gain through these kind of activities.
I'm a part of the Washington High School Theater Department, and I meet there, we do 4 shows a year, and so I'm usually there every day after school, 6 days a week. I'm also part of the Washington High School Orchestra, which meets every day during first period, and we do different competitions and concerts throughout the year. And I'm a part of the Washington High School Jazz 1, which is a group that meets during lunch and mornings on Thursday, and we play different concerts. Next year, I'm going to Columbia University in New York City, hoping to either major in creative writing or theater arts or film studies. Not really sure yet, but it started at Eugene Field. It was started before Eugene Field, and that's why we picked the school, was we felt it was a place where arts were not only the supplement, but also the foundation. So they were there not to take the place of academic endeavors for kindergartners, whatever they would be doing at that age, but something that would increase what was already had to be taught. And I felt that has carried on throughout my high school career, and that never really ends. The importance of using those, the creative skills to enhance the more left brain skills. And I feel that's really helped me in my college journey as well, because that's what a lot of colleges want, which I think a lot of people don't really know about. I guess I'm not an expert on it, but what I felt that the applications that I did that did best were the ones in which I were more creative, which I more talked more about those outside pursuits other than the academic pursuits. I really love academics as well. I mean, I love Washington. It has a lot of really great AP programs. So once I graduate, I'll have done 12 AP classes, taken 12 tests, and right now my GPA is 4.36. I'm hoping if I get all A's at the end of the quarter, it'll be up to a 4.47. So, which isn't super mattering, but you know, it's something I wanted to do, and I think it's helped me throughout the journey.
I'm in almost every arts activity possible. I will be graduating with the accomplishment of 4 years of varsity show choir. I was the only girl my freshman year to make it into CLACO, Classic Connection, is the varsity show choir. And I like to think this is because of my arts background and because of all the training I had and the passion I have for singing, dancing, and just performing in general. Also, I will be graduating with the accomplishment of oral and terp. I'm team captain this year. I joined my freshman year as well. I've done it all 4 years. I was the first national qualifier from Washington in 17 years, my sophomore year. I went to Alabama and competed in humorous interpretation with about 500 other people in my category and broke to the top 60 as a sophomore. So my coach thinks that's very impressive, and I'm very proud of myself for doing that. And then I also qualified last year and this year as well. I just got back actually from nationals. Again, we're going to 2 competitions this year, and I broke to top 60 and then top 30, and my overall ranking was 20th in the nation for humor. So it has been a very successful career for me when it comes to speech. I also, again, like to think this is because of how I grew up and just this teaching I got from Eugene Field specifically. Like, I'm not trying to be cheesy when I say that, I literally mean it. Actually, if I ever get any award later in life for anything, I'll be thanking everyone at Eugene Field, specifically Mrs. Laura. I just saw her, actually, I went to Mary Poppins, their production there, and thanked her just for everything that she taught me. And she really is the foundation of why I do the arts. Other than that, I also do school theater here and community theater on top of that, which takes up a lot of time. It's pretty much every day. I do it with Jane, actually. We just did the school musical. And anything art related, I'm in drawing too right now. I really enjoy that as well.
So if you're looking for something to fit a unique personality.
When we decided to come to Eugene Field, it was, we had noticed some general desires of a daughter to be a part of the arts and do things like singing and dancing and along those lines. And it's hard to think about Eugene Field without thinking about the play that they put on here. And when we watched her in her 2nd grade year at her former school just embrace everything that was about the play, we thought, you know what, let's talk to her about the opportunity to come to school that is more arts-based. And we did, and she was interested. We came to a parent night here to learn about the school, and she was sold. And so she actually made the decision to come on her own and to start over making new friends and going through that whole process of learning a new school and learning new teachers and a new environment.
If you're looking for a program that will set up a student for success in middle school, high school, and beyond,
self-awareness and awareness of others and cultivating empathy when someone may be struggling, but then when you struggle yourself with a certain subject, seeing that some of your friends, again, have certain gifts, we're all blessed with different gifts, is an important part of learning in and of itself. And whether it's socioeconomic diversity, racial and ethnic diversity, diversity again that is reflected here at Eugene Field, similar to what we have across the city, I think it really helps stimulate an understanding and awareness that will serve these students well when they get to middle school and high school.
I still use the tools we learned then to apply to the things we do now. A lot of my favorite projects in high school are the ones where we get to do something creative, and luckily teachers often have those projects. Those are often the basis of a lot of projects, or write an essay and put a real world experience in it, or create a short video or a short film about a piece of literature you read. And I found that that's often more essential to high school life than people really realize. High school life is not, if it was, it is no longer sitting in a room and listening to a textbook and writing down notes and taking a test. That's not how teachers teach anymore. Teachers teach with skills that many different kids can have access to. Some of them are hands-on, some of them are more text-based, but But I found that the unifying factor among a lot of those methods of teaching that teachers, at least at Washington, use, and I believe the greater Sioux Falls School District as well, are based on creative reasoning and creative thinking, which is something that Eugene Field students do every day.
I knew that I would succeed, I guess, because of all my teachers, and it didn't matter whether we were doing arts, because obviously it's an art school, but whether it was math, English, social studies, any of that, they taught you the main thing there was acceptance and to be yourself. And I think that's like an overall goal for every elementary school, but I always say Eugene Field is the best specifically because every single teacher there really cares. Like, they actually care about you. I just saw my 5th grade and 1st grade teacher on the street the other day when I was going into musical rehearsal downtown, and I just remember like feeling so happy. Like, there was just this immediate joy because they teach you what it means to be yourself and to be a good person full of character. I mean, we had those character counts, which I know a lot of other schools did too, but like they really struck on like what it means to be a good person and how to succeed in life when it comes to confidence. And I think one thing I always say why Eugene Field is so special is because we had not just music class, but we also had drama class and dance class instead of just gym. And I think that really showed you like you don't have to be just good at sports and math. And like nowadays, you know, they teach you so much, like I can't count on my fingers and toes how many classes we have on like STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. And yeah, those are important, we need those. But like I think Eugene Field really teaches you that you can do anything and be anything you want to be if you put your mind to it and you work hard enough, because honestly I don't think I would have the same mindset if I went anywhere else, because they just really teach you that it doesn't matter what you're good at, but when you find it, to just run with it. And the confidence they show, they always tell you, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you really like go at it with your whole heart, you'll succeed. There's limitless possibilities.
Eugene Field is an example for all the other elementary schools on what a solid foundation in the arts can do for a kid. Because I've been able to succeed in high school and middle school, and I'm confident that I'm going to be able to succeed in years ahead. But I think that I really gained that confidence, and I gained the ability to do that through those extra hours of art education and music education. And so I think it's really important to remember that a lot of places it's not emphasized as well as it is at Eugene Field. That's what differentiates it from a lot of the other elementary schools.
Or looking for the best opportunity for your student to learn with a diverse, eager group of learners from around the globe.
We are a neighborhood school. We have kids that come from our neighborhoods from all walks of life. And then we also, because of the arts program, are able to have a huge amount of kids open enroll. So we have just this very diverse group of learners. And like I said earlier, because of the arts, there's that easy access point for them that they don't maybe need to have the same experiences, and I don't have to change my lesson because I'm worried about they don't have the experiences to understand this yet. We can make it an easier access point because of the arts. Maybe we can start it with a song and we can all learn a song together and then jump into maybe the meat of the lesson or the more content of the lesson. They don't always need that vocabulary that sometimes kindergartners have and sometimes they don't. They can show it by acting it out. They can show it by creating a picture of what a setting would be or weather would look like. And so it's just, yeah, it's more accessible to students. It's appropriate for kids, and it's engaging for kids, and it's fun for kids. And while we have a lot of things to teach and cover and learn in a year, we want the time that kids are at school to be enjoyable. We want it to be something that they are excited to come back to every day, and that's what we're seeing.
Going to the Sioux Falls Public Schools is really, it prepares kids for the world, for I guess, real life. And this is nothing against the private schools, but you see people from all different places, you hear different languages, you hear different accents, and you're all together doing this with the same goals, just learning and getting along, and just, and to me that's a great learning experience, that we're all the same. We just want to get good grades, we want to grow up and get a good job and all get along. That's what I tell people. I mean, I think going to a public school and Eugene Field too, you get that experience plus all the arts exposure. I mean, you get the best of both worlds.
You'll be hard-pressed to find a program more highly recommended than Eugene Field A+.
I came right from college and student teaching, and I toured Eugene Field, and it just felt so different. It was a community. As teachers, we're working together all the time, and I teach with some of my very best friends because students are at our focus, and that's what we're working towards. I, growing up, was very musical. I loved to dance, I loved the arts, but something that was difficult was traditional pen and paper. So when I came here and saw that we are tailoring the learning for all students, I knew that this is where I needed to be because it just felt like home. And so I just can't imagine teaching anywhere else.
You know, we didn't choose Eugene Field necessarily because we thought they would get taught in a different way. We chose it because we knew the opportunities would just be more for them.
Thinking about if I would have had a school like this to go to, how different school would have felt for me. And I was not someone who necessarily struggled in school, but just my motivation would have been so much higher, and I think the learning that much deeper. And then now my son goes to this school because I can't imagine sending him anywhere else, even knowing that the Sioux Falls School District is wonderful and all of the schools are great. Just this little extra piece that I think is so important to just creating a passion for lifelong learning.
I would highly recommend coming to Eugene Field. It is a great school to come to express yourself.
It's a great school. There's great friends, great people. You'll love it. There's good arts. Yeah, it's the best school that I know of.
It's just a good school to go to. I don't want to leave here ever.